Dear Nigerian, adhering to state planning, physical planning laws in Lagos is a major priority of the state government.
It's a task that must be done.
No, that is to keep Nigeria one. Oh. Just reminding you. But even that is a task that must be done, I'm just saying. Now, Lagos state government, in the course of this week, lamented increasing number of unapproved buildings in the state, saying there are plans in place to ensure stakeholders comply with required regulations. Now, the State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Oloyinka Olumide, was speaking during a press conference in Alausa and said that less than 25% of buildings in Lagos have approval. Let me take that again.
Less than
25% of buildings in Lagos State have approval, which is not good for safety. Well, he's here to answer some of the questions, some clarity, give us some clarity on the issue. Thank you for joining us here this morning, Dr. Olumide.
Thank you very much.
Please help us understand. So, first of all, how many houses are there in Lagos? There must be in millions.
Of course, in millions.
And only 25% of them.
Less than
25% of them have building approval.
Yes.
How does that happen?
No, wait. Lagos State is since 18 what now?
No, Lagos State.
Okay.
Lagos State was formed out of Western State in what year?
1967.
1967.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Since that time till now, 25% of the houses in Lagos are less than 25% of them have approval. Help us understand.
Well, it's not a good story to be talking about, but majorly I would say that probably due to lack of education and understanding about the real importance of physical planning permits. We've had cases where people even approach our district offices. They were given an assessment and they made the payment and immediately started working. So you can see the level of education in that regard.
They made the payment.
He approached the district office with the intention to build. He showed his drawings. The drawings were assessed, and he was given the assessment to pay, and he paid, and he went straight to site. And
without waiting for the approval.
He has not even started he has not even commenced the proper process.
Wow.
You understand? It is when you now come in with the payment and your drawings are taken in that the process actually begins. So, I mean, that is to show the level of awareness and education on the part of the people, realizing the importance of planning permit. A lot of people still don't know that just like you name a child and you get birth certificate, the same thing with buildings, that you just must get a permit before you go into construction. So for those, I don't want to say, use the word stubborn, there are some who are, of course, knowledgeable, but for reasons best known to them, those ones will be hard on them. But for the larger populace, we need to do a lot of education and awareness for them to know the importance of planning permit. So.
Doctor, you say that at the point of payment, they mobilize to site without actually going through the process of getting the approval.
Yes.
What has the state done about that kind of behavior in order to deter others?
Yeah, thank you very much. The law setting us up 2019 as amended, we actually have a clear distinction in terms of the processes for building development. You present your drawings of what you intend to build in line with the land use and all the planning regulations, and that building will be screened and assessed. So once it's in conformity with the plan, assessment will be given. Now, you effect that assessment by you making the payment, and you come back with the legitimate receipt from the government with the drawing That's the actual begin process of that plan. Now, it goes in through the system and eventually it comes out as your approved drawing. However, that doesn't mean you should just go straight and start construction. To some people, again, this is probably new. For you to commence construction, you still have to approach our development control arm to inform them officially that, yes, I've gotten the approval and I'm about to start the physical construction on site. And you will also be screened by wanting to know who are the professionals that has been engaged to oversee that development. Now, what level of safety or comfort are you putting in place? We also demand for insurance, which of course you agree with me, contractor risk insurance, because you have to insure the construction site as well as the immediate surroundings. So all this put together, then you will also be given that approval, which is called authorization to commence construction. So it is after that that you can now move to site, and of course you will also have given them your timetable that, okay, at this particular week I want to do the setting out of the building on site. At this particular period I want to do my foundation. So that agency now has the plan and they'll come in as at when due. However, again, you agree with me that also there is also a challenge in that regard, because that development is subject to the availability and flow of funds to that particular individual. Sometimes it might not be possible for you to have the fund from the day you move into completion. So you find cases where somebody approached and is given approval for, let's say, foundation. So, and the foundation is supervised. And after that, he wants to relax. Now, as at the time he probably wants to come back again for the superstructure, he again has to go back to seek for authorization. And that is why that agency now, because that is quite cumbersome in terms of calling on the number of personnel that we have in that agency. That's why we now have a program called CAP, where we want to leverage on professionals within the built environment as a way of assisting in the supervision of those developments.
Doctor, my question was actually, what has been done to those who did not get the approval and went ahead to build? What penalty was imposed on them so that people stop doing that?
Yeah, naturally, if you do any development without approval, you will be penalized. And you will pay 4 times the original amount expected to be paid. Now, that we've been doing, approaching people and giving them notices. Some will seal up the properties, and a lot of them have been coming back to do the needful by way of getting approval. But realizing that volume of deficiency, we now made a submission to our governor that, look, it's important for us to encourage and assist most of these people who wants to get their buildings approved. And that's why the governor gave that amnesty period. We started from 1st of May. It was initially for 3 months, 1st of May to 30th of July. But when we saw the volume of people coming in, we have to plead to the governor, which he graciously extended till 30th of this October. However, we've also gotten feelers of a number of people that are still making requests, and we're also looking to that in terms of extending the duration.
Perhaps one of the things that a number of people may say is the reason for just going on is, look, they're just going to say, okay, continue anyway, and that they only want to collect money.
That the government only wants to collect money?
Yes, that, okay, we have gotten one approval, and when we go again, they're going to say, okay, pay for this one, and then you can continue. If that is about it. So give us an idea, does it have to cost money at every stage?
No. Actually, I mean, if you try to check in terms of percentage that is paid for planning permits as against the cost of building, it's almost negligible. It's almost negligible, you understand? But again, you have to also appreciate the level of infrastructural development that are going on in the states, because a building in itself is not complete without some other supporting structures. If you have a building without power, for example, it's almost as if you don't have a building. If you have a building without water, for example, it's almost so. All this goes together to get a fully completed building, which, of course, are the responsibilities of the government to provide. However, what we also discovered is that a lot of people buying from, and I would trace this as a major factor. Now, when people buy land from the locals, the so-called Omonile, in most cases, it's almost impossible to get the title. You find cases where somebody just go to CMS and buy one small receipt, a plot of land sold to so and so. I mean, that cannot be evidence of ownership of land. No, it cannot be. And without the root of title, you cannot get approval because you cannot build on nothing. You understand? And that we've seen as the major challenge. And the process is so simple. Before you commit into purchase of any land, it's important for us to clarify the status of that land from land bureaus. You don't need to know anybody. You can get your lawyer to do the search for you. You can also approach the office yourselves and do the search yourself to confirm the status of that particular land. If it is a land that is under government acquisition and is sold to you, you cannot get approval. And what we found out is that people will now go strictly and start construction. There's so many of them all around. And at government time, if it's committed, when the time comes, if it is for road expansion or for new road, for government infrastructure, of course, we will gladly remove them. So my advice to people is that they should try and do the needful. Confirm the status of that land before you commit your fund into it.
There are some people who say they get this land on the basis of, do you know who I am?
What do you mean by, do you know who I am?
I'm sure you are in Lagos. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Because we have heard in this same city, a number of people would go and start an infrastructure, and when they are questioned, in fact, they even have security personnel around, and another set of security personnel will want to go and enforce these regulations that you're talking about. Yeah,
thank you very much. We've had cases of that, so many of them, especially on estate lands. Some of them will put security personnel, police, military, they put them there. And again, that's also part of the challenge that we had in the past, when officers will approach them at infancy level and they will bully them. And, officers maybe one or two, they go out and you have 4 or 5 policemen on the side. They will, sometimes they arrest them and we go back to. But now, I think from 2022, we are heavily fortified now. That there is no side we cannot face. But most importantly, I don't think there is really need for that. Whoever, don't you know who I am? There is also another person higher than who you know. There is also another person higher than who that person knows. So, I mean, when we have cases like that, we have channels of raising it up. Sometimes we get the Commissioner of Police. If it's beyond that, we escalate to the level of the Inspector General of Police. Even cases that we have a Chief of Army Staff. So, the law is the law. You can only bully to some level. So,
Doctor, have you had cause to actually demolish any properties for lack of approvals?
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Maybe you're not making enough noise about it, because the more people hear about it, the more they'll be scared of building without approvals.
Yeah. But I think, quite frankly, I think what we have seen has to do with a lot of education, communication and education. It is not entirely true that people just set out to disregard the law. No, cases that we have seen, they're not like that. In fact, some of them even tried. But like I said, if you don't have a root of title, because that's the starting point, it's the evidence that, okay, I want to develop, this is my land. So if it is not there, They approach the district office and they are told that, look, you don't have the root of title. And the man will start all the way, go back to the person that sold in the land. Before you know it, the person has gone to Dubai and is enjoying that money. So it becomes a challenge, and the man wants to build. Maybe it's about retiring. So after, a lot of time, frustration sets in, and say, okay, let me start. So we've seen cases like that. And it's not all time that when we go to demolish, it's not a thing of joy. It's not something that we should be happy about. No. We demolish only if it is the very, very last resort that it's actually evident that that building cannot exist. In most cases, what we do is to try and rectify the situation by encouraging the person to do the needful. But it's only in extreme cases that we demolish.
Now, how about there's those who also fall victim of the so-called omonile. You're building, you've gotten layers of approvals, and then you still need the approval of omonile.
No.
Because they won't allow you to build.
You don't need any approval. In fact,
they won't allow you to build.
2 weeks ago, I did address the press about the powers of so-called estates. There are some estates that we noticed they've turned themselves into approving authority. Look, you want to develop your building. The design is a secret known to you, and it should be known only to you and to the government. There is no estate that we've given the power to screen any drawing. No, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. When you want to build, you send in your drawings to the government, and you begin. No estate has approval to screen any drawing, and they don't also have the approval and competency to supervise drawing. They don't have that, and we have not granted any estate or any agency to do that responsibility on behalf of the government. No. What they do as an estate, you can come together under the agreement that, okay, you want to do development, there is going to be some level of disturbance to the environment. Trucks will move in with sands and granite, and okay, for that reason, contribute something to the development of the estate. Fine, that's their internal arrangement. But nobody has any right to pass any drawing to any estate. It is absolutely illegal. And if we hear that, we're going to deal very seriously with those estates.
The idea of Lagos being a mega city, sometimes you are in some parts of Lagos and you wonder what the government is going to do about those areas for it to fit into the plan of Lagos to move Lagos up to the status of a mega city. And I'm sure in your mind now, there are pictures of certain of those areas, the central Lagos, Agege, Oshodi, and places like that. What are the plans for such areas that don't seem to have any kind of demarcation or any kind of visible planning?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good enough. What you've just raised is part of the thing that we observe, and we're planning to have the very first physical planning summit, tag Physical Planning Summit 2024, the very first. And the purpose is for us to let the people know what exactly do we mean when we say development plans for a particular area. Koshofe Model City Plan, what does it mean? What does it, Badagry Regional Master Plan, what does that mean? We want them to know the importance of those plans and why they are made. And also for them to recognize their inputs into those plans. Because it ends up to form our own operative development plans. Now, one thing now is to have those plans. When those plans comes out, expectedly it's supposed to be the property of not only the government, but also the people. Because on the side of the people, they have expectation. On the side of the government, they have implementation. Now, what we just raised boils down to implementation. Now, those plans are there, very beautiful, marvelous. But do we have the financial capacity muscles to execute all those plans. So we think that it's time for us to sit down together that, okay, let's even look at what are the challenges of implementing those plans. Now, the ones that we've had, can we rate ourselves what level of percentage have we achieved in terms of implementation? Now, if it is not a very good score mark, what can we do to ensure that plans that are produced are fully implemented?
Well, clearly.
So those are the what we are trying to look at. That is it not time for us to open up and see by way of PPP arrangement where private people can now come in the execution and implementation of those plans, both local and international.
Okay. Well, it's clearly it's like saying disobey physical planning laws at your own risk.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time this morning, Dr. Oloyinka Olumide, Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Lagos State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
You know, I told you, this is not a Katawampos conversation. So, by the way, there are still some other meanings that have come up. Someone said...
Some Katawampos meanings.
Some Kata... Someone says, Nigeria's fuel landscape is askew, careening Katawampos with no clear solution in sight. Oh, my God. Can you please have mercy? Babatunde Olani says, Katawampos. Several electricity poles along many Nigerian highways have become perilously Katawampos from their fixed positions. Oh, my God. Send yours as well. We'll be right back.